doing something creative.
You choose a short meditation.
I'm so good at hiding it.
It hasn't always been that.
Mm-hmm. So welcome to the panel discussion, the Journey of an Entrepreneur panel discussion on wellness and well-being. The idea and purpose behind this discussion is to bring to light what I believe is one of the utmost important things that we need to put in place for ourselves, especially when we're starting this journey of being an entrepreneur, but also as being a professional in the business world and being a leader as well. We have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of variables come at our ways, whether it's business, friends, family, further education, coming out of school. So I think it's ultimately important that we highlight the dark side, I guess, of entrepreneurship and business that we shy away from talking about and we don't actually see on social media, these sides. We only see, 5 months, earn $5 million. This is how you do it. It's all plain sailing. Everything's super easy. But in reality, as we all know, it's not super easy, and we will go through difficult times during it. So let's get straight into it. So I'm just going to throw out some questions to the panel, and then we're going to have an open, organic discussion, and then we're going to engage with the audience. But I just want to do one thing. Raise your hands. Who's vulnerable enough to raise their hand and said at some point within their lives, within their journey, they feel like they've suffered some sort of mental or wellness or health issue that's related to high-pressured environments? Okay, that's interesting. And well done. Give yourselves a round of applause for being vulnerable enough to put your hands up, because I know that's not easy. Okay, so mental health is a crucial part of an entrepreneur's journey. Can you each share a personal story about a time when mental health was tested, and physical health, and how you managed to overcome those challenges? And we'll start with you, Monica.
So briefly about what I do. So I've been working my entire life as a solopreneur. I've never been employed by a company. I've always been running my own show. And at the age now of 53, I'm involved in my first startup. So first of all, it's never too late. I've been working professionally with health and fitness. And during my years when I coached one-to-one sessions, I coached a lot of entrepreneurs, most of them middle-aged men, very successful, who ran multi-million-dollar companies. And what I saw with them was that they didn't seek help until it was too late. So that's why I'm really happy to be here, and also why I said yes to Janne's request, because when he told me that the average age will probably be a little bit younger than the people that you normally speak to, I was like, wow, if I can influence one of you to look after yourselves before it's too late, it will all be worth it.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, actually my first answer goes a little bit hand in hand with what I want to say. And it's, don't try to start implementing stuff when it's already too late. Because what you need to do where you are right now is to ask yourself, how do I want to feel physically and mentally? Now, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, and so on. And what can I do today and this week to really push myself further to that goal? Because when shit hits the fan, which it will do if you are going to go after your dreams, then you will be far too busy and you will not see the wall until you hit it. So for me, I can share something really personal. I have been very successful in my field where I talk about women's health. I released 2 books. I work every week with lectures for some of the largest companies in Sweden. And in the midst of this, my dad dies. And it was just like, we didn't know. He was fine. I spoke to him in the morning. And then in the afternoon, he had a massive heart attack and he died. And my schedule was completely packed. This was at the end of the summer, and I had huge lectures the whole autumn. So if I hadn't had my practice, which then is heavy weightlifting, running, spending a lot of time in the forest, meditation and breath work, I would not have been able to do one single thing. it was my choice to continue working and go through the loss of my father during that autumn. And yes, of course, it came back to haunt me a couple of months afterwards, but I never hit the wall because I had my strategies and I had my tools in place, and I have been practicing them for the entire adulthood of my life, and that saved me. So my advice to you would be put some tools into practice now. It could be big things, it could be small things, but make sure they become a habit, something that you do every day, every week, every month, good times, bad times, and they will help you when things happen.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing that story. What's one of the things that we can implement now that you talked about? If you could just give us one.
I would say that when we talk about mental health, we have to also remember things going on in our bodies are not isolated from each other. So when we talk about mental health, that's also physical health, it's spiritual health, it's social health. So you can't talk about one without also mentioning the others. So I would say build a strong, I was looking around the room before when Janne was talking, and I would say probably the average age in this room is probably around somewhere in your 20s, I would say. Is that right?
I would think
Something
so.
like that?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say where you are right now, with the energy that you have, right? Build a strong foundation, build a strong base when it comes to weightlifting, when it comes to finding what is my tool for finding recovery. Is that taking a walk in the forest? Is that taking a swim in the ocean? Is that doing breath work? Is that going to a yoga class? Is that, I don't know, cuddle with my dog? Whatever that is, find that out now. And also look around you. What kind of people do you surround yourself with? Make sure that you surround yourself with people who are not only there when it's hard for you, but also that you surround yourself with real friends that will cheer for you when it's going well. So look at the entire picture and just don't stare yourself blind on one thing. Well, I do a lot of running or I do a lot of tennis. Well, I tell you what, it won't be probably enough in the long run to just look at one area. So think more broadly than that, I would say.
Yeah. Olle, you've worked extensively with teams under high pressure. In your experience, how can entrepreneurs recognize the signs of burnout early, and what strategies do you suggest with your experience to manage that stress before it escalates from your experiences?
That's a good question. First of all, I just want to say that it's so nice to see all the energy, and you guys are just amazing. It's fantastic. Yeah. I've talked to some of you during the breaks, and that energy and that burning desire that you have to do, something different, to create something is just amazing, and you should cherish that. That's wonderful. Yeah, but we also need to harness that in some ways. I think that you guys, and I can see, going back in my own life, I've had the same tendency to try to perform in every area of my life, to be a high achiever everywhere. And I think we need to find that balance between using the gas pedal, go full on, and sometimes pull on the brakes. Because we need to step back, we need to take a little break, to do what Monica says, to recover and to find energy, and also to find ourselves again. Because we can lose that in the sort of the noise that is our lives, social media, whatever. To take a step back and to work with that self-awareness. Monica is talking about meditation, physical exercise. All these things are connected, like you said. And I think we need to have a wide array of exercise that we do. So physical exercise can be cardio training, it can be strength training, it could be flexibility training. And we need all of those. As we get older, let me tell you, we need more flexibility and we need some other stuff that is good for us. But we need to find out what those things are and what turns us on. But to answer your question, if I remember correctly, what are the signs? That was the question, right? I think first and foremost, and this is the same, because we're talking about stress, mental health, burnout issues. Stress can be physical and it can be mental. But within us as organisms, there is an accumulation of stress. Whether it's physical or mental, it doesn't really matter. But the first signs that I think that we can be aware of and be cautious of is about our state of mind, our concentration, and possibly if we find ourselves irritated much more than we have been before. So I think that's the first signs before the body starts to react. Once the body starts to react, we've gone pretty far, because then we can see, an overload in the sympathetic nervous system, leading to weight gain, leading to higher blood pressure, leading to other things. But the first signs are definitely cognitive or mental, I would say. So that's where we need to be cautious and aware.
Of course. And thank you for sharing that. Charlie.
Yeah.
Just on a side, I just want to give Charlie a massive round of applause from everybody here. How old are you, Charlie?
19. Yeah.
Charlie's 19 years old. And having the vulnerability, the bravery, and the fear of sitting here and being on the panel to discuss these things is absolutely fantastic. So I just want to say thank you so much to you, because it means a lot. I wish when I was your age, that I was in this position to be able to do what you're doing, to show the rest of you young people and older people as well that this is so important to discuss. So thank you again, mate.
Thank you.
So Charlie, you work with the eco-conscious projects, and you must come under some unique stresses and pressures. How do you maintain that healthy mindset while working on these huge projects, trying to change the world in terms of the products and services that you're providing as well? How do you maintain that healthy mindset and to ensure that these projects have a lasting impact? And what advice do you have for staying grounded? You talked a little bit about staying humble earlier. How do you do that?
Oh, that's a good question. It hasn't always been that. I think that like the first time I realized that I'm not immortal, that even I can be affected by stress. It was the first grade in the gymnasium, and I had a lot of things to do, and I started to like seeing those signs that the memory is getting worse, and like the smallest things was so hard to do, and in the end it broke for a German assignment. I was supposed to do like a presentation about Christmas, and I got a panic attack from that. So it's in the end I made tea and watched Tenet instead. So that was the first time like I realized that it can actually go too far. So since then I've been very like cautious to look out for these signs, and when I see them, I take time to evaluate if like how far gone is it. Do I need to take a step back? So like before for the Swedish final, it was very hectic, and I felt like maybe this is too much. And the thing that made it then was that it was just like a short period of time. I know it in 1 month it's done, and then I took time to recover after that. And also during the time, it's important to look for those signs, maintaining a healthy like training schedule as well, but really look for these signs and do according to that.
Perfect.
And take some time off. I mean, talk to different activities, different form of training. Something I found is that like creative things as well. I play the trumpet, not very much. I don't talk about it a lot because I'm kind of bad at it. I played too many years and like really bad at it.
But it's nice for you to say that and be vulnerable enough to say that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
But the thing it was like once a week I got away from everything and just played the trumpet, and I think that was the most important thing with that. So both the physical health and training, but do also creative things and other things that bring joy.
Something you really love to do.
Yeah,
and enjoyment,
exactly.
and exercise.
And
For me, it's drawing
Yeah.
and painting.
Yeah.
Just takes the focus away a little bit and puts me in almost that meditation state. And that's
Can
really...
can I just
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that when Charlie was saying that. Doing something creative is actually stimulating our right hemisphere, right? Which is connected to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of stress. So what you're doing is you're actually activating a different system in your body, which is really cool. So finding out at this early age that is something that works is amazing. That's really cool.
Fantastic.
I didn't know that. But
Yeah,
it's nice to hear that I did the right thing from an expert. I just
Instinctively.
tried something.
eye contact and listening and being loving and showing kindness in that situation, I think is key. To really break through a barrier, because sometimes it's hard. And like you said, we're driven. It's something that we have in our backbone. We want to achieve. We want to become better. And to realize that maybe we need to take a little break. And that break is what we need to be able to strive again. And that's the realization I think that we need to find.
Yeah.
In order to get somewhere, we need to back off sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was talking to another friend. I don't know if she's here. Alice, are you here? Yeah, she's there. I think she is. We talked about the grit versus the quit. And I think that was interesting. The grit we have is the ability to move forward. It's the accelerator. It's the going forward. The quit, it doesn't mean that we are quitters, but it means that we have to step away sometimes. And I think that's a good sort of analogy to have and use sometimes. But listening and loving and kindness.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And for someone who's been through it, and and my wife and children having to go through it, and you don't necessarily see other people going through it. When I was going through my period of feeling depressed and just not realizing it, I'm so good at hiding it. When I walk into a room, Spencer's so happy. Oh, why are you so happy all the time? I'm like, yeah, it's great. And then I walk out of the room and I cry. And people that are suffering from that don't necessarily show it. And it's only subtle signs. And that's why when Monica said it's important to have a close network, really close friendships, close family, close friends. And for me, it was my wife that saw the signs. And she supported me through it.
So for a lot of people, spiritual health, they think about religion, right? So it could be something religion, connected to religion. But I'm not a religious person. And for me, spiritual health has to do with the big questions. Why are we here? What is our purpose? How do I want to be remembered the day I die? What do I want to leave behind? That, for me personally, are the spiritual questions. And it's not something that you solve in an afternoon. But those are questions that I carry with me. And in some ways, they also color my visions in my own work and what I want to achieve, how I want to build my new company, which people I want to work with, etc., etc. So it has to do with something larger than, okay, I want to build this company, I want to sell it for this amount of money, I want to achieve this price or whatever. It's so much bigger than that. That to me is spiritual health.
Okay, thank you very much. I actually have a second question, if that's okay.
Of course, absolutely.
Can I just add on? before
Yeah.
you go
Yeah, of
on
course,
with the
of
next
course.
question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I totally agree with Monica. But I think also that it is being spiritual to me is reconnecting with yourself.
Yes.
It's about self-awareness. It's like Sabina was talking about clarity today. And I think that's one part of that. Where am I? Where am I going? Who am I? Those types of questions, I think, is spiritual. That could be religious or New Age or whatever, but it definitely doesn't have to be. So it's more about finding out about who you are at the core.
Yeah.
I think coming back to something.
Yeah, because it's all connected.
Yeah.
Because when you start asking the bigger questions, it all comes back to you. So what does that mean? What do I need to do? What do I need to develop? What do I maybe need to change or work on to reach the answer to the other questions?
Yeah. What's my principles? What are my morals?
Exactly.
Vision, mission.
The bigger picture.
Exactly.
How
It
do you
is a
find
great.
it?
It is a great question, and that's also why I'm happy that a lot of you people in here are young, because you have to. What I say, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince. That's a saying that we have, right, in Sweden. Well, you have to try different types of recovery, and different types of finding your way to recuperate. And we've talked about some of the examples here. So it could be singing in a choir, playing an instrument, drawing, painting, knitting, running in the forest, walking in the forest, or for somebody else, something completely different. It could be physical, it could be creative. And there's probably as many answers to that great question as there are people in here. And what I would say is that normally when you start on that journey to sort of find out, it also goes back to your first question and Olle's answer, because it also means that you need to go on a road of self-discovery, where you actually can answer those questions to yourself. So when you have tried something out, you know if that works for you or if it doesn't, and which tools to keep and which tools to maybe discard. So it's basically, my answer would be, it's a trial and error process. What would you say, Olle?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's different. I mean, if you recover from a workout physically, resting in the couch, watching a movie is a good idea. But if you have brain fog from a cognitive stress that you've had for a long time, maybe that's not the best thing to do. Maybe you need to find something else.
Yeah.
A walk in the woods would be something. Exploring meditation could be another. Finding the different types of practices that you need is something that we need to look at, all of us, I think. And also it changes, right? It's not the same. Like 20 years ago, we were different, right?
Yeah. We knew each other 20 years ago, so we've sort of followed each other through. We've met each other with regular intervals in different settings. But I would just add one more thing to that question, and if you have a non-stressed brain, then lying on your couch watching Netflix with some candy, that could be recovery. But if you are a high achiever and your grit is one of your strongest traits, then very seldom will that be true recovery or scrolling TikTok. That will make you even more empty and your brain even more tired, especially if you're already really wound up. So I would probably not start there. And I am the first to admit that I have had a really hard time to find continuous meditation practice. And me and Olle talked just before we started this panel discussion. And I said, because I've had a really busy year the last year, I have found it really hard to go back to my own silent meditation practice. So instead of stopping meditation, I have gone back to a LED practice where I use apps and I use already pre-recorded meditations, because then it gets done, right? So it's not that one is better than the other, it's just getting the job done and just deciding, like, okay, I'm going to try this app. Please don't start with half an hour or 60 minutes. I mean, it's like if you said to me, okay, Monica, could you teach me how to do a deadlift? Yeah, fine. But I won't say to you, okay, let's now deadlift 100 kilos. That is the same thing as somebody who's never done meditation before trying to sit down and do a 30-minute meditation. So where would you start? You would start probably investigating a few apps or even YouTube or Spotify. And you choose a short meditation. The first one you do might be 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And you commit to doing that once a day for 3 to 4 weeks. And then after that, you're like, okay, I did it, right? I'm going to try a slightly longer one, or I'm going to try a different style. And then at the end, you probably will find a style, a teacher, a way that you enjoy, or you might even find it's easier that I do it on my own. It doesn't have to be a led practice. I can sit in silence on my own. But I tell you what, that is one of the hardest forms of meditation to start with. The easier ones is to either go to a teacher or to follow a pre-recorded meditation.
Yeah. Olle, anything to add to that?
Oh yeah, I think less is more. So starting out easy and finding something that attracts you. Yoga is a way of meditating on bodily movement, for instance. So that's one way to go. If you feel like you need to move your body and then meditate on that movement, that's a way to start. Sitting meditation, like Monica said, is probably the hardest thing to do because it just requires you to sit and do nothing, which is really hard, right? Yeah, all you achievers can.
For a lot of people, that's harder for a lot of people to even imagine than going out running 10K.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You want me to sit and do nothing for 25 minutes? Are you crazy? Yeah. So if you can recognize yourself in that, exactly like Olle said, do something physical, maybe even something really tough physical before you try the meditation, even if you're only going to do 5 minutes in the beginning.
Yeah. That's kind of the idea with yoga, just to prepare you for sitting meditation. Yeah, exactly.
Probably say that, remember, life is ebb and flow. Ebb and flow. So you push, you go all in for periods of time, but plan your rest before you go head in. So make sure you have planned recovery in your life in general, whether we talk work, we talk training or other things. So ebb and flow, go hard, go easy, go hard, go easy.
Yeah, I think that sums it up.
Yeah.
The balance between gas pedal and brake pedal.
Wonderful. And Charlie?
Well, I think everyone in here won't listen to don't work as much. I mean, everyone here will probably work more than a full-time job, and I think that's good some way. If what you want, but I think like the mindset I got, and you can like say if it's right or not. You're the expert, but that like entrepreneurship is not a sprint; it's a marathon, and you need to go all the way. And like invest in the most important thing in your life, and in your the most important asset is yourself. So you need to invest in yourself to make the long way.
Yeah. Fantastic. And just one point from me is I wrote down here hustle mentality. We all love the hustle. We hear it all the time, all over social media. I love Gary Vee, talks about hustling all the time. And we should hustle, and we should have a hustle mentality, but we should also hustle for our well-being as well. Let's not just hustle to make money, to create business. Let's hustle to take care of ourselves and to take care of each other. The journey of an entrepreneur. It doesn't